that, but we all think it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you should have done something else. That should have invested. That, and trust me, I had the same thing about me. Like I should have done this, or about my parents.
Okay, save it.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, good.
Hey everybody, I'm Christine Barr, and this is Today Over Tea, where we have real conversations about things that matter. I'm a dancer, businesswoman, traveler, and host. And today we're creating an open-minded space with hopes of spreading awareness and education through similar experiences. I'm going to introduce you to some of the most passionate and knowledgeable people in my life. 2020 is the time to own who you are, reach your highest potential, and just love your life. Because let's face it, we're all going through something, but it's time to evolve as a society. We need to spread more kindness and love for each other and this planet. So let's start the conversation.
This is
so weird.
This is so weird. This is so great. Okay, as you can see, I've been trying to do this podcast with this incredible woman for so long, but she's always so busy. So now she's not.
Surprise!
And we came to her into her glorious, beautifully decorated home. We're finally here. We're in San Diego. This is Kasha Kozak. For those of you who don't know, I mean, I don't even need to put the resume. It's professional dancer, Blackpool champion, all kinds of amazing Latin titles, top coach, and I mean, speaker. You've hit every area of that can be hit. And people absolutely love you. And you're going to see that as we get to kind of going and her experience and all of these types of things. But we're going to try to hit on, we were just talking about people making decisions in the moment and why that decision might have been good in the moment, but the consequences of that later. Mm-hmm. So generational with parents and kids, and just success in general, because I think that's what we bond over a lot.
Correct.
Is how society's version of what successful is and how we go. And then now that we're in quarantine, we're just starting to reevaluate, is it all worth it? And what are we working for?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So talk to me. Let's spill the tea.
Let's have our cheers.
That's it. I love it.
So thank you first for having me.
Please.
We've been friends and we've talked about all the
know.
important things, and now we can actually share it with the world, which is so
That
awesome.
is cool. I know, because
Yes.
we cannot shut up. We have these conversations constantly.
Right, about things that matter to us.
Very important.
Right.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it's very therapeutic.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And we just realized last night that the first time we really got to bond was about 6 years ago.
Yes.
Here in this house.
Correct.
And
Over your brother's birthday.
Over my brother's birthday.
It was,
And it was fantastic. And you were so nice to invite us here. And since then, we've been here many, many times. And
Correct.
we've bonded over the years and developed our strong friendship. And these conversations just naturally kept happening.
Correct.
And so now, also we'll go into later what she's doing now to supplement, all of these conversations on her end. But talk to me about you.
Yes, I think one of the things that we all enjoyed, and I think that's kind of how we grow, because we have this respect for each other, for each other opinion. And I think that's when we talk about the success or the decisions that we make. I think as a society, and we all are guilty of this. Me, you, our parents.
Sure.
We're so quickly to judge people, right? On any level. The minute you meet someone, you already have, I like it, I don't, how they look, what they say. It's like,
Yes.
we might not say that, right? And a lot of times we don't, but inside we have that. Like somehow we come with this judgmental approach to anything, right? Part of it is probably survival, assessing quickly what's right, what's not.
Insecurity.
Yes, who you should be talking to, where you want to allocate your time. Absolutely. But we've talked about it, that a lot of time it's a society that puts certain demands on us, right?
Yes.
And make us compare ourselves and compare other people to our standard, to our norm, what we should be doing. Like I call this a lot of time, we're in the box of I'm your friend, I am a professional dancer,
Right.
I'm a person, right? Whatever your career might be, I am a mom. And then it comes with instructions. You should be doing this, you should be wearing this, you should be,
see.
right?
Yes.
Versus, if we put it apart, the question should be,
how do you define being a mom?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
What should be for
Right.
you? Like I remember talking to my mom about something, and I said, "Can you keep that once you are a mom? Right? Could you keep that freedom? Can you keep that excitement? Right? I am not a mom at the moment, and so my mom said, "Of course you can, but you have to be very cautious because a lot of time people say you don't act responsibly." What does it mean you don't act responsibly?
Right.
Right? My mom sometimes throw this at
The
me.
judgment,
You don't
yeah.
act responsibly. Once you have kids, you're not going to be able to do this. Yeah, but I don't have kids right now, so I don't have to worry. And then even if I have kids, do I always have to do what other people have done?
Right.
What works for them might not necessarily work for me.
Totally.
Relationship, I always say, you have to find your own weirdo. You have to find, right, in a good way.
Right.
But you have to find the person that works for you, not what works for this person and this person. You have to ask yourself, does this person make me happy? And then the question is, what makes you happy?
Yeah.
Right? Discovering what makes you happy versus what should be making you happy.
No, that's very interesting the way you went with that because I didn't even think about it. Because we hadn't gotten to that point of it. We were just quickly talking about decisions.
Right.
And now you're saying in the sense that how society ties back into it and defines something for us. Right? We've said that in the past podcasts with jobs. So like my friend hates when people ask him, what do you do? That's how we define ourselves.
Correct.
Right? They, instead of who are you or what do you desire or what how you
Right.
get deeper to know someone about their soul, it's always what do you do? And it's like, well, I'm a doctor. So then all of a sudden that comes with all of these status stereotypes, whatever it is, and then you automatically categorize this person without even knowing them.
Oh, totally.
Right? And
So
so that's interesting that you say that just on anything about a mom or like how, like you said, the mom shaming that, how all these people do, or being a therapist or being a sibling or a friend.
Yes.
Right? That's so interesting of like, well, you owe me this because that's what a friend should do.
Oh, totally.
But when in reality, it's like, well, I think everyone's friendships are different, and what you require from a friend
Correct.
is different
Right.
than someone else.
Exactly, and I think we don't share that.
We
Right?
don't.
We so often, because we right away go, okay, this is the description, this is what friends do, this is what friends don't do, and then
Right.
we go with that. And when someone doesn't do what they're supposed to do, we get hurt, right? Because,
Right.
you vary, right? And you go, well, because sometimes we get upset about things that are not even important to us. Just
Right.
because they fit within the box. Those are the 10 little points you have to fulfill. And when you don't, red flag. And then you realize, I don't really care for those points. I have my other 10
Right.
points, or our friendship is based on something completely different. We do this as friends. And I
Right.
might not do this with my other friend. I had a conversation with someone.
Right.
There was envy of, when you go with this friend, we're not invited. I'm like, yes, because I would like to have my private moment with that person. Right?
Yeah.
We share certain things, me and you,
Sure.
and there is certain information or a certain way of interaction that I would not share that with that person, right?
Right.
Because this is, you trust me and I trust you, and we talk about certain things that are important to us. That does not mean always that you're going to be sharing that information to someone else, or I'm going to be sharing with someone else, or we're going to be bringing all the friends, because sometimes we just want to have our tiny little me and you
We
and
do,
what's
yeah.
important to us.
Absolutely.
And then you have the same thing
Because you
with
act
other
different
friends. Correct.
when you're in other company.
Absolutely.
But also going back to when you're talking about the points, even if, like you said, those societal points aren't what you require, sometimes I think we get hurt or insecure because we actually do want those things, but we don't know how to say to that person, we
Correct.
want those things.
Right.
And then we just pin it on, well, you're my friend, that's what you're supposed to do. When in
Right.
reality, why can't we just be vulnerable enough to say, well, I just really need you to do that for me. You know,
Right.
or I'm hurt because you didn't, because I know I'm learning that in my relationship, not just
totally.
friendship, I mean in my
Correct.
relationship. And it's like, it's not, you're my fiance, you should do this for me. It's like, no, I want you to do this for me because that's how I feel loved.
Exactly.
And that is
That's
such a
correct.
different conversation
Yes.
than you're my fiance and you should do this
Or
for
you
me.
should know.
You
Right?
should
I mean,
know,
I
right.
I
I
come
can't
from the
stand
background
that.
of,
Yeah.
you're the boyfriend, so you should know. And someone said, well, he's not a mind reader.
Right, that's so
Right? I mean, your
unrealistic.
boyfriend, your husband, your friends,
movies do
right?
that all the time,
And
yeah.
I think sometimes it's, if you come from the place, you make me feel a certain way. When you do this, I feel that way.
That's so much
when
deeper.
you do right now, all of a sudden, the person it's not thinking, oh, you just want me to do it because you just want me to be busy. You understand that when you do or you don't, there is a feeling attached, right? There is certain emotions,
and they don't want to make you feel that way again.
Right, exactly.
I mean, ideally,
or
if they
do,
love you,
if it's
or
a good thing.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so it's all in how you approach it, and that's definitely something I've been learning. You know, my brother and my stepmom have been helping me with that kind of stuff as far as like how to approach it differently in a sense of not coming at it in such of you've made me mad or or I'm going to now make you feel how I feel. Correct. I'm going to tell you how I feel. And in turn, hopefully you will understand that next time I would like a different result.
Right.
Or something like that. And I think that that's really hard because so many people don't know how to be vulnerable. They don't want to be. Because then it looks like they're the weaker one.
But you know what? I think that it's the word that we use, vulnerable.
Yeah.
Instead of if you say, okay, if we eliminate that word vulnerable, because I don't like that word either.
Sure.
Right? Being strong and being independent and being in a position like, okay, I like to kind of like conquer the world. And now all of a sudden I want to be vulnerable. I'm like, no, I don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But if we replace it with, let's just share. Let's allow people to see who you are, what it is that you stand for. So now you take that, our understanding of the word vulnerable, right? And we go, you know, it's empowering. I'm just sharing. I'm just allowing you to know who I am. And I have enough trust within you that you would understand that you would not try to harm me on purpose. Right. And I think at the core of every human being, we don't really like to hurt people because we don't like to get hurt.
No.
Right? So if you share with someone, when this happens, I am hurt, right? You automatically kind of letting the people know, or you're asking them even indirectly that please don't do that, right? And I think everybody usually gets that.
Sure.
Because if you turn the tables around, you would not want to be hurt.
No.
Right? So if we would have come from sharing who we are and being brave, this is what I'm experiencing.
Being brave, I love
right?
that.
Then all of a
That's
sudden
a
you
good
go,
way to
wow,
put it.
I am brave versus I'm vulnerable. Because then again, I feel weak versus, well, I'm actually
There's
strong by
courage
doing
there.
that.
Yeah, I love that. So let's kind of segue into what we were discussing before about just success. Because I think, especially for us, like you were saying, we're strong, we're confident women, we're boss ladies, all these things, how that is being redefined for both of us. Also where we are in our life, because you're in a very different place in your life than I am. But at the same time, we are kind of working towards similar goals.
Right.
So what I think we used to think being successful was, and maybe what, I wouldn't even say success anymore, we're looking more for fulfillment now.
Exactly.
That's a different feeling, right?
Yes. Because
You know?
I think just kind of what you've actually said, fulfillment and success. Because success, it could be anything,
Sure.
right? But what makes us feel fulfilled or back again, happy of who we are. And I think those things change as we progress as human beings, right? As the society, again, you know, the family that we come from, being competitive versus not being competitive, right? So when you are young, the success means we have to show up, we have arrived, right? We get education, we show people I can do the job, we're usually much more competitive, right? Because I want to show you I'm better than you.
I was going to say
right?
that's
because
us
then,
all the way.
all the way. I used to compete with my brother who's going to put the toys away faster. I mean, taking it a little bit to the extreme, right?
That's hilarious.
That was my status. I'm the older sister. I have to, you know, control the situation. Because it makes us feel accomplished.
Sure.
It makes us feel happy, right? And I think as a young person, we kind of make our own stamp on, okay, I'm here, right? I matter. I stand for something.
Right.
I've shown
I'm
to
good at
people.
something.
I'm good at something, right? And usually good at something means you showing that you're better than the other person.
Right.
Right? And that's just a progression.
So let me ask you this, because this brings on a question for me. For those who don't know, Kasia is Polish.
Yes.
She's from Poland. And those of you who know, I'm from France. And so we have a lot of, Noel's Haitian. We have all these cultures. Do you feel like us all coming to America for the American dream, do you feel like that society, the American society, puts so much more pressure on what success is versus our countries, where it's a little bit more focused on family life and being happy and maybe not having the biggest house, the most cars. You know what I'm saying? I think I've seen a difference
big shift
in culture.
No, totally. And I
Okay.
think when we come in, I mean, I think there's two parts of it.
Yeah.
One is when you come in, you think, oh my God, I could have all of these things.
Oh, it's amazing.
Right? And we become like, wow, I can have this and I can have this.
Because
And
in our countries, that's not necessarily possible.
correct.
Yeah.
Right? So to some degree, that excitement almost turns, if you're not cautious, into greed.
Sure.
Right? It's a slippery slope. It starts from, oh my God, this is great. And it's like, well, if I have a few more dollars, I can buy this. And if I work a little bit more, I can have this. And then before you know it, we become workaholics, right? Because
Well,
you're always
workaholics,
chasing,
yes.
oh, I can have a
Because when
bigger
is
house.
enough?
That's right.
You don't know.
Right? And because you
Yeah.
might be coming from a scarcity that there was not enough. Now all of a sudden I want 2 of this and I want, 3 of this, and making sure that there's enough, that I do not run out of things, right? That's
Right.
the mentality that we come with, right? Now, the good part about it is when there's not enough in the countries, let's say in Poland,
Sure.
you end up being much more competitive. You end up fighting because it's a survival of the fittest. So you become much more competitive. You become driven from that experience, right? Because if you don't do this, you're going to be hungry. Your family is not going to get it. So now all of a sudden,
I see.
you do not go, oh, I do not know how. You figure out how, right?
So you basically create a lot more necessary life skills
Oh, absolutely.
that here
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
Right, because you
We have so
have
many resources.
Absolutely. So
that's
that's why even
interesting.
in a competitive dance world, the immigrants, the Eastern Europeans, usually do much better because we have that hunger. We know
That fight.
what it means to be hungry.
Yeah.
When you come here, it's not, oh, I just want to win. Of course we do. But that means you're going to stay in a country. That means you are going to be able to have more than what you had. It's not just for the glory, for the medal.
Right.
That medal means survival. So you're fighting, you're so much more driven, and therefore it's hard to compete against that if you've never experienced that. Right?
That's a good
So
point.
putting that together with, wow, they're things accessible, it's like you come from with all that, right? Hunger, all the drive, you squeeze in through the gates of America, and now boom, the big freedom opens.
Because your work ethic and your drive to succeed in competitiveness
Correct.
meets with the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And now all of a sudden, how can you not
Boom.
succeed?
That's it.
Right. So it becomes a lot easier. But so then switching to now you've done all of that, right? Because as I told you at the beginning, this woman's resume would put anyone to shame. And titles and things like that. But you've worked very hard for everything that you've gotten, and now you have this incredible repertoire and life and experiences and titles and all of these things. Now you are looking for something different. There's a shift in your life that has happened. And
Right.
how does that maybe tie back into your family life, your Polish side?
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, so I think, again, I believe very much it's, I don't want to say aging process, but maturity process.
yeah.
As we had more experience, you realize that, yes, those things, accomplishing things, competing, it's fun, right? And I cannot say I did not enjoy that. Of course I do. I
Yeah.
still enjoy competing,
Sure.
right? But then as you get older, you realize that you are much more willing to share your expertise. You're much more willing to create communities that are doing stuff together, because it's much more fun when everybody up their skill, and now we can have significantly more educated, more elaborate conversation because everybody's at that level.
Right.
Versus me
At the
being
top.
up here and showing people that they're here, because now that's not really fun for me.
Well, and,
right?
and it's lonely. I mean, how many times do
Exactly.
they say that, it's great to be at the top, but then you're up there by yourself?
That's right. And people look at you like you are this
Right.
person that they're scared to talk to you. They're scared to approach
Right.
you.
So
You
you're never
always-
really having these personal conversations unless
Right.
you let people into that.
Right, and you have to be the one
space.
bringing them in.
Correct.
Right, and opening the door. And at some
Correct.
point you go, oh my God, could someone please just take my role or be at the same level so we can engage in the same conversation,
Yeah.
and I don't have to always
That's a
have the
good
ball in
point.
my hand. Right, and so, and then you realize being successful means having people around
To share
that,
it with.
absolutely, and that
I
care
mean-
for you and you care for them.
Yeah.
Right. So now all of a sudden you go, okay, family is extremely important. Your close friends, not the 5,000 friends you've never seen on a Facebook.
Right.
And I'm not saying I don't enjoy them, and they're great as well. And lots of time you do have very interesting interaction with them. But it's maybe 10 or 20, or if you're lucky, maybe you have a little bit bigger group of people that you can have these
One-on-one.
intimate
Yeah.
one-on-one conversation about things that matter to them and matters to you versus I call this like telling them what it is that you do. Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. It's
That's
like
it. I feel like that's the conversations we have.
correct.
We have no time to talk to somebody. You're right. We end up telling them what we do or what we've been doing. We almost
Right.
like catch them up to the point we are now.
Yes.
But why is that important? I feel like that's kind of why we have Facebook. That's kind of why, if they kind of know what's happening, we can just quickly run through it. But the purpose of what we're doing here and why I love our friendship so much is because every time we talk, we always get into a deep conversation.
Right.
We can't help but do that
Right.
because we're always trying to be better. And are we happy? Do we want? We ask ourselves the hard questions that I think a lot of people don't ask. And we were discussing before of our age difference, but at the same time, we're almost hitting a similar space of where we want to be. And I think the reason for that is because my generation is starting to learn from your generation and feeling that we want to become fulfilled a lot sooner in life.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so then
Yes.
those conversations are happening to us because now I'm seeing at the age of 30 that's like, oh, well, success is great and it's awesome and I can do all of these things, but also, do I want to have a family? Do I want to maybe not work 60 hours a week?
Correct.
When in reality, most people between the ages of 30 and 40, they're running
That's what they
businesses, they're doing, and then they hit a certain point and they're like, I didn't even see my kids grow up.
Correct.
Right? So
Yes.
I think we're learning that and realizing, wow, we need to maybe do that differently. Because even in the dance world, we're seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're
Totally.
seeing you went through a lot of the people in your time and went through and competed. And then now a lot of them, they're almost near the top or reach the top, and then they're like, they retire very quickly so that they can go have kids. Because
Right.
the women can't be pregnant when they're competing.
Correct.
So it's like there's a giant shift, and everyone's kind of seeing that, going, "Oh wow, they've already retired," and it's like, yeah, and they're fine, and they feel fulfilled with what they did,
Correct.
and not that they have to hang on to a title for maybe 15 years or something like that.
Well,
I don't know. There's a shift happening right now
Correct.
that's very apparent.
Exactly. And I think it's back to a lot of us are asking what makes us happy.
Yeah.
Right. And I think with the speed of the technology, right, you could see that there's so many more things available to us.
Yes.
Right. That we don't have to go the traditional route as
Yes,
everybody
yes,
always
yes, yes,
done
yes.
it before.
That's true.
Right.
We have so many options.
Exactly. You have so many options that we did not have, or the generations before, right? Everything was based on what was accessible to us then. Like sometimes people say, oh, could you show me the YouTube video when you competed? There was no YouTube video when we competed. Right?
I know it sucks.
right,
I want to see so many things.
Yeah,
I can only
and
have a
at
couple.
some point I'm like, thank God. Because sometimes I don't want everybody to see everything.
Right.
Right? And
That's so
I mean, we
funny.
talked about it. Like, I'm actually a very private person.
Yeah.
Which usually looking at my life, very few people probably would have think that way, right? Because I have this crazy red hair, I have a lot of energy that creates a lot of vibrance. But
But
I'm
you
not,
share with them what you want. And
right, I'm
yeah.
not very like, I am distancing
all the time.
right, in a nice way.
Yeah.
But I think it was also what was accessible to us. We were much more private, right? So now when
Sure.
people say, oh, you can post people or share with them what you do every minute. I'm like, I don't want people to be every minute with me. Everyone. Yes, I want my close friends. I want my boyfriend. I want my husband. I want my kids. I want my parents to be close to me, but not everyone. Someone down the street that I've never seen before. I don't want them to be looking at my world all the time, even though it might be fun for them, even though it might be fun for me sometimes. Oh, you entertain, you have a fun. But if they're with me all the time, now all of a sudden, what do you leave for your loved ones, right? There should be some activity
yes.
that it's only for me and my loved ones, right? They have a
Yes.
different relationship with me, and they should, because otherwise, you're dating the whole world. The whole
Basically.
world is your family, and
Yeah.
you can't do this. Then
Right.
you're spreading yourself way too thin, right? And then
Right.
it becomes no longer special. Then would you go, why would I call this relationship more special? Why would I call you my friend versus all the other friends that have been exposed to everything that I do? Or why would you want to
Right.
spend time with your boyfriend, right? And what would make him different than if you share every
special.
moment with everyone, right? I mean, that's a little bit, I feel like the
No,
younger
that's a very good
generation,
point.
it's a little bit more intrusive, and we enjoy that. But then, do we really like to be that public all the time.
Right, because you didn't have social media to give you the opportunity to do that. So
Right.
you naturally found the people that you wanted to share more with and the people you didn't.
Correct.
And now you're right. It's almost like everyone gets put on the same tray.
Absolutely.
And that's bizarre. Yeah, my brother's very, because of the industry that he's in, he really chooses what he shares and what he doesn't. And that's
Right.
more the older generation style of thinking, because
Right.
he doesn't want to be that person that he is with us at home with his audience. It's weird
Right.
for him. It doesn't
Correct.
make sense. So that's a very good point. I never thought about it in that way. To wrap it up, we are still in quarantine,
Okay.
right?
Well,
We are still in quarantine for a little while, and this is really cool because this is the first time we've seen each other since we've kind of been going through
Quarantine,
this,
yes.
and we've been learning a lot about ourselves because we are people who do a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness, and I think a lot of the things I've learned are just things that trigger me and how to control that, and also how not to feel like I have to control every situation, because
Right.
obviously this quarantine allows us to not have control over when we can travel and when we
Yes.
can do all these things. But you've told me that it's something you were working on before that now has just been emphasized. Is
Right.
something you're working on, which is,
be able to say no.
which I'm not loving because she's saying it to me.
I mean, she was my big encourager, and now she said, no. You can say no to other people, but not to me.
That's it. I was like, you should say no, because I've always told you that, where I'm like, I think you do too much. Because
Right.
you do. You are so, and that is why people love you, I do have to say, is because we can count on you. You're always someone that, if someone comes to you, you're going to come up, you're going to help them formulate the idea, or you participate in so many things, and people love you for that. But you can't do that for everybody, because there's only
Right.
one of you.
Correct.
So we discussed a lot in the past of how you balance that with still being the fun, inclusive person that you are, but also taking time for yourself. And I think
Right.
you're learning now how to do that a lot more, and you're learning to love it.
Yes,
Which is
yes.
awesome.
It's actually strangely very empowering.
Yeah.
It's very empowering,
It is.
right? And it kind of gives you back to, instead of always, because my little thing that I have fallen to was always taking care of other people.
Yeah.
Right? And I loved it. I mean, I think that's
Oh,
my
yeah, and you're good
gift.
at it.
That's the part
Absolutely.
that I really enjoy, and it gives me a lot of energy back, right? Because I could see people thriving, I could see people growing, right?
Yeah.
And the joy and excitement, and I really love that. But sometimes, or oftentimes, I will overextend. So then I pay the price. I don't sleep enough.
Right.
My day is hectic because
You're
I'm
running from the airport to this because
exactly,
you ran to
and I
another
won't make
event
you
and-
feel like, oh my god, I don't have time. So by the time I
Yeah.
see you, I will be all calm and collected and like nothing ever happens. But on my end, everything gets shrunk and everything gets really intense. And now having a little bit more space and not being with everyone all the time, I could actually do my own thing and enjoy the time. I'm like, wow, I actually have a little bit more time for myself. I could self-reflect on what it is that it's good for me, what I enjoy.
Create some different habits.
Right. And then
which is
occasionally
nice.
said, you know what, I'm busy with this. I don't really feel like that. Or I've noticed it was really entrusting people, I think, again, versus going, I am responsible for making everybody happy. Occasionally saying,
They can do it.
I see,
Yeah.
hoping that they will see you and they will have enough respect for you. So I had a scenario where silly, right? It was we're going out for a hike, and I woke up and I was not really feeling that great for whatever reason. I really didn't feel like springing out of bed and going, which is unusual, but it happens.
It happens. Yeah, we all have
So
our
then
days.
my first thought was I have to get up because I promised I do this, right? And then I thought, you know what? We're in quarantine. Like I really don't have to. It's just a hike, right? So then I called the person where I was hiking with, and I said, I just don't really feel like it. Let's move it to another day. And it was so great, like, okay, not a problem. It's not a big deal. Versus before, I would take upon, I would not want to disappoint them. I would take such a responsibility for making it happen because I very much stay true to my word. If I promise you something, you don't have to ask me 5 or 6 times. If I say yes, that thing will happen. Even if you forget about it, I will remember.
Well,
right?
and how,
So-
and I'm sure this happens to you too because we're very similar, but for me, when I, just thinking about that scenario and thinking about the thought process that would have gone through my head before I were to cancel on him.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
sure that you were back and forth. And, no,
Totally.
I can rally. It's
Oh,
fine.
yes, it's
right?
not a big deal.
It's not a big deal because you don't want to cancel when you're right. We're in quarantine and it's just a hike.
Right.
You're not doing, it's not an event. It's not like you're not showing up to some big thing that means something to them.
Correct.
It's a small little thing, but we realize, oh, why did we commit to this? And
Right.
then we have to get up and do it. And once we get there, we're fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, why is it so hard for us to think that we're going to let them down when in reality, all he said, oh, no big deal. And you're just
Exactly,
like,
because
why did I work myself up?
Correct.
That was so
Because
dumb.
again, back to communicating.
Yeah.
Right? You know what? This is what's happening. Can we do something? And
Yeah.
it could be, this is like a very simple little example, but it could be in anything.
Totally.
Right? You could say, this is not working. I had to say to someone that was, right, because I do a little videos for different people and trying to help everyone to kind of stay positive and happy and, all these things. So people were asking me, and at some point, I had to say, you know what, right now, I can't do it because I already promised so many other people to do stuff. I'm already doing so much, right? I could force myself, but then it's not really enjoyable to me.
Well, and it's not coming out genuine either.
Right.
Because now you're thinking about it and it's not coming from an organic place.
Right, and you're becoming, again, you're missing you. You're
Sure.
not really, and you're not letting the other person to know, okay, maybe down the line, this is possible, but for right now, let me just do my thing,
Yeah.
and then when the space open, right, and then I feel like usually when it comes that way, the person understands a little bit more about you,
Right.
and then you also learn, are they really your friends? Because if they don't respect, if they don't really understand where you're coming from,
Absolutely.
then you go, well, maybe that's not my friend, right? Maybe you're just a
Yeah.
person that always just want to take advantage of what I can give, but they don't really see me back, right? So that
That's a good
could kind of
test.
be a nice little recognition who is there for just taking advantage of your skill and who is really your friend, and
Right.
understanding, that you're having a bad day or you're running out of time and maybe it's not the best time for you.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Absolutely. So, talking about the group that she had, because we're going to plug a couple of things here. I'll put them in the description. You started a group at the beginning of quarantine called What the World Needs Now.
Yes.
And you were very quick to jump on that. You were like, you just felt, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a good person, you want to spread love. So it just kind of came very organically, which I think is
Right.
why it was so successful from the start. It now has almost 900 people in it,
Right.
which is amazing.
Awesome. Yes, yes, yes.
In a matter of what, we've been in quarantine now, maybe 5-6 weeks, something like that.
Yes.
And everyone kind of shares kind of what they're up to, what they're doing. You've thrown some challenges in there, fun little things at home, cute little videos, things like that. And it's really nice. It's a group that I feel, it participates. It's kind of that discussion thing that we're trying to
Correct.
do with Today Over
Yeah,
Tea
we
as
just
well.
share positive, and
It's
it
fabulous.
actually came out.
Yeah,
There
there
was
wasn't
really strange because I was talking to a friend of mine and we were saying how the world needs a little bit more positivity and like we're just having conversation and then my friend said, oh, but no one is going to do this and I thought, well, why not?
She's like, well, I will.
That's it, right? So I go,
That's what I'm here for.
and it was because normally I'm not such a big participant on social media. Like I do some things for the competition, for different things that I run, but not necessarily being so present. And during this quarantine somehow, I actually took the role of making sure that people are happy and spreading the joy because I'm usually much more positive and I feel first I felt a little bit silly. Like I remember the first time when I set up the group, I'm like, I wonder if anybody going to be even interested, and then I sent an email to my group that I work with and I thought let's see, and people were so happy that I've reached out to them, right, that I've actually say hi to them, that I've checked with them, and I'm like, wow, they actually, it means something.
It does. It was a very much of a glue I think everyone was looking for.
Right,
Especially at the beginning when there was so much
Yes.
fear.
Oh,
That it
absolutely.
was like, you know what? At least I can stay connected with the people that mean something to me and we
Correct.
can all be in this group together.
And the whole idea was to share the positive because
Yes.
there was so much
Oh,
negativity,
especially at the beginning.
and so much
Yes.
information coming. Oh my God, we were just scared. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no. If you have something scary, share it somewhere else.
Right.
This group
This is not for that.
Not that I'm not interested, but this group is not designed
Yeah.
for this. This
It's not
group,
used.
it's like
Yeah.
having a piece of chocolate.
Right.
This is good for you. This is going to bringing you a joy. That's
I
it.
love it. No, that's really good. And then recently, you've also started kind of your own version of a podcast conversation type thing called Kasha's Voice,
Yes.
which is so cool. And because there are so many incredible people in your life, both professionally and personally, that you're
Correct.
able to showcase their accomplishments, what they've done. These are people at very high levels in their careers, but also just people like your chiropractor, amazing
Right.
person
Yes.
who has spent his life dedicated to this art that has helped heal so many people. And, you know, there's so many really cool things. So we'll link that as well because she's just cranking them out. I mean, I'm over here just trying to get these 45-minute episodes in, and she's over here like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever.
Well,
you
because
know?
you're so professional. You have the whole setup. You meet in person.
Well, I
I just do it
appreciate
through Zoom.
True.
Right? Because there is no, I mean, during
Right
the
now,
quarantine,
where
there's
they're
no other
everywhere.
way.
Yeah.
And I really like this, right?
But
because
it's
with
so
my crazy
cool.
life,
Yeah.
I kind of like that I don't have to be on location with this person.
Yes.
Right? They can just tell me what time works for them. They're in the privacy, whatever they might be, in the hotel room, in, you know, they could be even outside. Like,
That's it.
I don't want to show you my house, so you go outside and we just have these interesting conversations about what matters to them. And I actually like to always come from the perspective of being a friend more than
Sure.
being my business colleague, right? These people are accomplished and I always introduce them and let people know who they are and what they've done.
yeah.
But they're really close to my heart. They mean something to my life. They make me feel particular way. And so
Yeah.
therefore I like to share them because we are who we are because of the people who are around us.
Totally.
Right? I mean,
Totally.
we bring people because what we stand for, but also people who are around us shape us into the people that we have become over the years. So I'm like, oh my God, I have this fabulous group of people that I'm so excited to share.
Yes. But I think also you made a very good point where you have created, you're continuing to do what we're trying to do here is start the conversation
Correct.
and talk about things that matter, but you're not letting quarantine or the fact that you can't schedule a time to get together stop you from doing that. That these
Right.
conversations can happen anywhere, over the phone, through a
Correct.
Zoom conference, you know, whatever. If you just happen to run into your sibling in the kitchen or whatever, like, I think people think that this needs to be, yes, we do it this way so it can be a little
Right.
bit more, you know, presentable. But
Correct.
these types of conversations, when we have them off camera, you and I just start talking in the middle of a grocery store. Like,
Right.
it doesn't
And sometimes
have
those
to
are the
be,
best conversations.
They are,
Right.
and they don't have to be so planned out.
Correct.
And I think that's what we're trying to get the message across, and why I love the way that you're doing it, because
Thank
you're
you.
taking the same idea, but you're making it so accessible to you and your guests.
Right, because
which
what
is
I
so
love
great.
what you do, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Right, versus an interview. Yes, we have
Sure.
certain things that we would like to share.
Yeah.
Right, we have a particular agenda, something that our audience can relate to. But the same, I try to create. I just let my guests to talk.
Have a
like I
space.
give them voice, and I go, okay, why don't you share something with us? And then we just go with it. So it's
Yeah,
not really
it's nice.
answer and question.
Yeah.
Like, you know, 10 the most common questions that I'm going to ask you.
Totally.
It's a little bit more organic, and we kind of see sometimes it goes right, sometimes it goes left, and we go, oh, that was interesting. I did not think this is where it's going to go.
Sure.
But it usually ends up being pretty
That's awesome.
fun. Yeah.
So cool, amazing. Well, you know, her schedule hasn't slowed down, so she's gonna have to go teach a class now. But she took the time. Thank you. I love you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh my
you.
god,
You're being so awesome.
You are so amazing. And we're, like I said, we're gonna link all her stuff in the description. And anything else you want to know, comment. We'll put it in the group. Discuss. Go on Takasha's page and talk to her and all of the groups and everything. Like, there's so many amazing platforms between the two of us, I think,
Right.
that give people an opportunity to meet so many other people.
Absolutely. I think that's what's
You
so
know?
beautiful about what it is that you do.
Yeah.
Is that you actually expand the group of people that we have access to.
Right. Oh,
Right.
well,
The
thank
three,
you.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you can talk to this person, you can see this person, right?
Yes.
And once you like someone, you can look them up through all
it.
the social media, and you can actually start a
so
conversation
cool.
with them, right? If you're
Exactly.
interested in what they have to say, just go, hey, I've seen the conversation, can we continue? I think that's what's so great about it.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. I mean, that's the whole idea. So pursue that. Now you have time. Now you have reason. You know, I
That's
think
it.
these conversations are happening more often now. So let's do it.
That's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Cheers again.
Cheers again.